Hello.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi. This thing, that promotional slides have not been shared for today
Okay,
because I have the old ones, but the thing is the topics are of the old. Otherwise, I could have used them.
okay, ma'am. Give me a minute, ma'am. I'll check with our team.
Okay, okay.
Ma'am, Ram has a shared in group, ma'am. Once you check it, ma'am.
Which one?
Ram has a shared in group, ma'am.
Yes, shaded. Okay, I'll just check. These are pictures, no? I have to use them now. There.
Yes, ma'am. This is the pictures, ma'am.
No, the thing is when I share the slide, right, in the morning, like,
Mm.
so when you send it back, if you only add it for the beginning and the end, it would be good. Otherwise, you send me the those things. I will only modify like earlier, and I will
Medicine
add.
infused, madam.
Yeah. Hello.
Hi, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Good evening. That promotional slides you sent me the pictures.
Okay, ma'am. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. He'll send it, ma'am. He'll send it. He'll arrange and he'll send it, ma'am.
Is it? Okay. Okay. Fine.
Give me 5 minutes of time, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. The
Fine.
class has been live streamed. It's already. I mean, it'll be a waste.
Live stream, ma'am.
Huh?
Okay, okay, okay. Just give me 5 minutes, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Mm.
Ma'am, just sent it. Please check, ma'am.
Mm. Give me 2 minutes. I'm just adjusting those because they have just been added there.
Okay, okay, ma'am.
Because the size now is like small for the slide.
Okay, okay, ma'am.
I put one animation, but I think when it was converted, that has been removed.
Ma'am, what happened, ma'am?
No, one animated slide I had put.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, but I think they have converted it to picture.
Okay, okay, ma'am.
I'll just change that. And
Okay, okay, sure, ma'am.
yeah, shall we start?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Exam Mastery Live classes. So we have started with the embryology topics. So here we'll be doing the rapid revision of all important questions, quick revision of volatile facts, and we also cover high-yielding topics as well as most expected questions in the which will be repeatedly asked in the university exams. So this is beneficial for everyone of all the university of all states. So I'm Dr. Divya, live class educator for Auricle. So today we'll be doing some questions of gametogenesis in embryology. So before we start with the classes, let us go through some core features of Auricle. So here we offer you live classes as well as recorded classes. And we also give you notes, which are CBME-based question and answers and MCQs. And the MCQs are from the beginner level to the expert level, which has all the standard multiple choice questions. So we have 3 subscription plans: basic, standard, and mentorship. Mentorship is a 12-month program, which we are giving you at a special rate of 50K. So here, in addition to the services in the other 2 plans, we also offer you one-to-one personalized guidance as well as notes. So you can use the code Dr. Divya 20 for the discount on subscription. You can as well book a slot for personalized counseling session too on the Auricle app. So we'll begin with today's class, Spermatogenesis. So the objectives of today's class are, we will be dealing with some of the essays and short answer questions, that is oogenesis, spermatogenesis, the structure of spermatozoa, and the formation of blastocyst. So first is oogenesis. So always, what is the definition? So what do we mean by oogenesis? So it is the process of formation of female gametes, that is the oocytes from the primordial germ cells. So from the primordial germ cells, when the oocytes are formed, from the oocytes are formed, that whole process we call it as the oogenesis. So where does it take place? It takes place in the cortex of the ovary, and oogenesis begins before birth. Okay, so this is the steps for oogenesis, the process. So the prostaglandin cells, okay, the PGC is the prostaglandin, primitive gonadal cells, okay. Sorry, not prostaglandin, the primitive gonadal cells. So the primitive cells here, they undergo mitosis and they form oogonia. Okay, this is all taking place before birth. Okay, so these primitive germ cells. So primitive germ cells will undergo mitotic division and form oogonia. Okay, so from the diploid cell, 2 diploid daughter cells are formed. Now, these oogonia undergo transformation without cell division. That means it just enlarges in size and forms the primary oocyte. Okay, it forms a primary oocyte. Now, this primary oocyte enters the first meiotic division. Okay, it enters the first meiotic division, the primary oocyte. So this primary oocyte, the first meiotic division. So at the time of birth, the first meiotic division is arrested in the prophase stage. Okay, at the prophase stage, it is arrested and it remains like that till the time of puberty, and it will complete it after the ovulation. So it undergoes second meiotic division. So here, when it undergoes first meiotic division, only one haploid secondary oocyte is formed. Okay, and the other one forms the first polar body. And in the second meiotic division, what happens is, this second meiotic division, at the time of ovulation, it is arrested in the metaphase stage. Okay, so and this second meiotic division is completed only if fertilization occurs. So when the fertilization occurs, the mature ovum forms. Okay, so this is the step of oogenesis. Now, why we get only in the meiotic division, why we get only one oocyte is, basically in human beings, it is a mono-ovulatory cycle. Okay, so that is why only one oocyte is formed and other one forms the polar body. So what are the characteristic features of the oogenesis? So the primary oocyte, it enters into the first meiotic division before birth and completes it at puberty just before ovulation. And these primary oocytes are not formed. So all the primary oocytes necessary, they are all formed before birth itself. So they are not formed after birth. And at the time of ovulation, the secondary oocyte will be in the metaphase stage, okay, of second meiotic division. So, and this will continue till fertilization. So it remains in the metaphase stage till the time of fertilization, and it will complete the second meiotic division only if it is fertilized. So at birth, there are about 2 million germ cells. Okay, so and most of them, they degenerate, and by puberty, only about 40,000 oocytes remain. Okay, so this is a general. So the primordial germ cell, okay, so the primordial germ cells, they form, that is, they undergo mitotic. So one mitotic division forms oogonia. Oogonia, then it only enlarges. Okay, it doesn't divide, it enlarges to form the primary oocyte. And the primary oocyte enters the prophase of the first meiotic division, which is prolonged till the puberty. So it remains in that stage. Okay, and it will complete the first meiotic division just before ovulation. Okay, so it forms the secondary oocyte, and the secondary oocyte enters into the second meiotic division and completes the second only at the time of fertilization. So this is how you need to write about oogenesis. So what do you write about oogenesis is, first is the definition. So the process of conversion of primordial germ cells to form the oocytes. Okay, so the secondary oocyte or the primary oocyte, so whatever the conversion, we call it as the oogenesis. So where does it take place? It takes place in the cortex of the ovary. Okay, so time. So oogenesis begins before birth. Okay, so it begins before birth and it will continue in the reproductive before birth. Okay, and it is arrested and it continues after puberty. Okay, so from puberty, it is continued till the time of menopause. Okay, so process when we say, so what are the divisions? First, there is from the primordial germ cells. What happens? First, mitotic division takes place. Okay, so mitotic division. So two daughter cells are formed. Okay, so this will undergo first meiotic division. Okay, these daughter cells, they just enlarge. Okay, they enlarge. Then they form the primary oocyte. The primary oocyte will undergo first meiotic division. Okay. And this meiotic division is completed when? At the time of ovulation. And then begins the second meiotic division. Okay, which is arrested in the metaphase stage, and that is completed at the time of fertilization. So that is the process. So characteristic features, already these are the things. Characteristic features is, it begins before birth. So there are about 2 million primordial germ cells. Okay, the primary oocytes are there, which are formed from the primordial germ cells. But at the time of puberty, only about 40,000 remain. So it begins before birth, okay, and it is arrested. First meiotic division is arrested in the prophase stage, and second meiotic division is arrested in the metaphase stage. And the first meiotic division completes at the time of puberty. Second meiotic division is completed only at the time of fertilization. So only when the fertilization occurs, the meiotic division is completed in oogenesis. Otherwise, every cycle is an incomplete cycle. Next is spermatogenesis. So what is spermatogenesis? So the process of formation of the spermatozoa, okay? Process of formation of spermatozoa from the primordial germ cells or the spermatogonia later on, we call it as the spermatogenesis. So where does it take place? It takes place in the walls of the seminiferous tubules, okay? So here the prostaglandins, the primordial germ cells, they remain dormant till puberty. So at the puberty, during puberty, they undergo a series of divisions to form the spermatogonia. Okay, so till then it remains as dormant, unlike in females. And once it begins at puberty, it continues up to old age. So here, how the process of spermatogenesis include. So the primordial germ cells, okay, at the time of puberty, undergo mitosis, first mitotic here, okay. So it undergoes mitotic division, then meiosis. So it undergoes, if you, 4 mitotic divisions, unlike the female, 1 mitotic division, okay. So it undergoes first mitotic division and it forms one dark type A spermatogonia, two dark type A spermatogonia. Okay. Now this dark type A spermatogonia undergoes again mitotic division to form one light type A spermatogonia and one dark type A spermatogonia. Then it undergoes again third mitotic division, which one? The light type A. And the dark type A is kept as a reserve. Okay, so light type A undergoes, spermatogonia undergoes one more mitotic division and forms type B spermatogonia, 2 type B spermatogonia. Okay, and this type B spermatogonia undergoes the fourth mitotic division to form 2 primary spermatocytes. Is it clear? Okay, so the primordial germ cells, first mitotic division, 2 dark type A. Then it undergoes second mitotic division, 1 light type A and 1 dark type A spermatogonia. Then this light type A, third mitotic division it undergoes, forms 2 type B spermatogonia. And this will undergo again a mitotic division to form the primary spermatocyte. Now this primary spermatocyte, it will undergo the first meiotic division, okay, to form the secondary spermatocytes. And each of the secondary spermatocytes will undergo, okay, so here if you see, it is having X and Y. So one will have an X chromosome, another one will have the Y chromosome, okay, so the secondary spermatocytes. So this secondary spermatocytes will again undergo division to form spermatids. So each of the secondary spermatocytes will form 2 spermatids. Okay, so altogether 4 spermatids are formed. So up to this stage, that is from the conversion of this primordial germ cells to the spermatid, we call it as the spermatocytosis. Okay, so spermatogenesis will have 2 stages, spermatocytosis and spermiogenesis. So this stage we call it as the spermatocytosis. Then the conversion of the spermatid to spermatozoa, mature spermatozoa, we call it as spermiogenesis. Okay, so this is the spermatogenesis step. Okay, so you have to remember that, and it undergoes 4 mitotic divisions. Okay, and 2 meiotic divisions. Understand? Okay, so 4 mitotic division, that is from the primordial germ cells to dark type A. Okay. Then this again, one more. So this is the first mitotic. This is the second mitotic, where each dark type A forms 1 light type A and 1 dark type A. Okay. And dark type A is kept as reserve. Light type A undergoes the third mitotic division to form 2 type B. Okay. And the type B will undergo the fourth mitotic division to form the primary spermatocyte. Okay. That is what we are seeing here. This is then this primary spermatocyte will undergo first meiotic division to form the secondary spermatocyte. Then the secondary spermatocyte undergoes second meiotic division to form the spermatids. So conversion of this, so this the whole thing here, we call it as the spermatocytosis, and conversion of the spermatid to spermatozoa is spermiogenesis. So before we go in for spermiogenesis, we'll understand the structure of a spermatozoa. Okay, so these parts of the mature spermatozoa are, it has a head, it has a small portion, that is the neck here, the middle piece, then the principal piece and the end piece. That is, this principal piece and the end piece together with the middle piece, they make the tail portion. Okay, so it has a head, neck and tail. So the tail consists of middle piece, principal piece and the end piece. So the head here will have, okay, so head will have the nucleus. Okay, it's conical in shape. It will have a nucleus. It will have the acrosomal cap here and the cell membrane covering it. Okay, so here near the neck, okay, so the neck, there is a centriole, proximal centriole. Then the middle piece, it consists of the cell membrane, and within the cell membrane, there is the mitochondrial sheath. This is the mitochondria, which arranges all around and forms the mitochondrial sheath. Then there are 9 outer dense fibers, okay? And in the center, there is the axial filament. That is the cilium with the 9+2 arrangement is seen here, okay? That is the axial filament in the center. Axial filament, surrounding it will be the outer dense fibers. Then covering that will be the mitochondrial sheath, and outside will be the cell membrane. Then in the principal piece here, if you see, we have the axial filament, and instead of 9 now here, we have 7 outer dense fibers. Then there is the cell membrane, fibrous sheath is there, and then we have the cell membrane. So there is no mitochondrial sheath there, just a fibrous sheath, and outside that will be the cell membrane. And in the tail piece, as we come down, only there is cell membrane and the axial filament is present. Okay, so this is the structure of the spermatozoa and the different parts of the spermatozoa. So it's important, you need to know. Now, spermiogenesis. Okay, so spermiogenesis is what? The process of transformation of the spermatids into mature spermatozoa. We call it as the spermiogenesis. So this spermatid, if you see, it is circular. It is circular cell containing a nucleus, Golgi apparatus. Okay, so it will have a nucleus. There is the Golgi apparatus, a centrosome, and mitochondria. So this is the structure. Okay, so spermatid will be more or less circular in shape. It's a circular cell containing these things. Now each of these things will be converted into different parts of the spermatozoa. Okay, so if you see now what happens, how is the process of spermiogenesis? The first thing what happens, the chromatin in the nucleus, no, it condenses. Okay, and this nucleus, it moves towards one pole. Okay, so when it moves towards a pole, it will form the head of the spermatozoa. Then the Golgi apparatus, it will form the acrosomal cap, which will cover the anterior 2/3 of the nucleus. Then the centrosome here, it will divide into 2 centrioles. Okay, so the proximal first centriole, it will become spherical and moves to the posterior end of the nucleus. Okay, so it moves to the posterior end. So it will occupy the neck region and it will form the axial filaments here. Okay, so the other centriole, what happens is it moves away from the first centriole and it becomes a ring shaped. Okay, and it forms what we call it as the annulus or the ring around the distal end of the middle piece. So, and through this, the axial filament will pass. So part of the axial filament between this neck and the annulus will become surrounded by the mitochondria now. Okay, so that will surrounded by the mitochondria and together it will form, that is the axial filament as well as the mitochondria together. What will it form? It will form the middle piece. The remaining part of the axial filament will elongate and forms the principal and the end. Okay, principal and the end piece or tail. And during this year, all the cytoplasm, okay, so most of the cytoplasm of this entire spermatid will be shed off and the cell membrane will remain, okay, and it covers the entire spermatozoa. So this is the process of spermiogenesis. Okay, so spermiogenesis, when we talk about, what is the definition? Conversion of the spermatid to mature spermatozoa is known as the, okay, so conversion of spermatid to spermatozoa. Okay, mature spermatozoa is, so it is taking place in the seminiferous tubules itself. Okay, so process. So what is the process of conversion you need to write? So different things, okay. So what happens to the chromatin? Okay, so chromatin condenses, then the nucleus becomes the head. Golgi apparatus, okay, nucleus will be the head. Golgi apparatus becomes what? The acrosomal cap. Okay, then the centrosomes, there will be 2. It forms the centrioles. two centrioles. So one is near the neck. Okay, it forms the axial filament. Okay, second, it is at the distal end of the middle piece. Okay, so it will be present there. Then we have the mitochondria. So mitochondria will surround the axial filament and it forms the middle piece. Okay. Right. So the principal piece is made up of only axial filament and the fibrous sheath with the cell membrane, whereas the tail part, it is just made up of the axial filament and the cell membrane. Next is blastocyst. So what is a blastocyst? First, always you should write. So any answers when you write the question, when the five we say for anything, you need to, for most of the things, whenever you're learning anything, you need to ask these 6 questions. That is 5 W questions and 1 H question. So what, who, when, where, why. Okay, so relevant. Whichever is relevant there, you need to ask that question. Okay, and how. So then only you will understand it better. Whenever you read, when you ask these questions, it becomes easier to understand the topics. So what is blastocyst? Blastocyst is a hollow cellular mass of about 107 cells. Okay. So when is it formed? It is formed between the 4th and 5th day after fertilization. And it is formed within the zona pellucida during that 32 to 64 cell stage division. So it consists of an outer cell mass known as trophoblast. So if you see outer cell mass is called as trophoblast and an inner cell mass which is known as the embryoblast. So out of the 107 cells, okay, so about 107 cells, only 8 will form the embryoblast. Okay, and 99 cell will be forming the trophoblast. Later it will be proliferating, but initially we see that. So after this cleavage division, when we see, okay, so after the zygote forms, 2 cell, 4 cell, 8 cell, then we have the 16 cell, okay, 16 to 32 up to that, we call it as the morula only. Then only the blastocyst stage will start, okay, so till the time of implantation. So how is the formation of the blastocyst? So morula, it enters the uterine cavity, okay. So the morula will enter the uterine cavity at about 4th day after fertilization. Now, by this time, the cells would have divided, okay. So now they need the whatever cytoplasm is present within these cells, it is not enough for its nourishment. So what happens? From the uterus, okay, the endometrial fluid secreted by those, during this period, there will be it is in the secretory phase. Yesterday we had learned about it. So secretory phase, the cells become columnar, and columnar cells usually secrete, isn't it? Secretory function. So these cells, the endometrium will secrete, okay, so this fluid which is called as the uterine milk. So this uterine milk, what will happen? It will penetrate the zona pellucida and it will enter into the intracellular spaces. Okay, so it will be just cell mass, no, here and there cells. So between all the spaces, it will spread. Okay, so it enters the intercellular spaces of the morula. So now there are like many pockets of spaces. Now what happens? All these pockets, they all fuse together. Okay, they coalesce and they form a single cavity which is known as the blastocyst cavity. Okay, or the blastocele. So the blastocele will be filled with this endometrial fluid or the uterine milk, which is rich in nutrients. So in this, it will be providing the nutrition for this cells to divide. So what happens to the blastocyst finally? Then it will be surrounded by this zona pellucida. This orange thing, what you're seeing is the zona pellucida. So initially it will be surrounded by the zona pellucida. Why is it surrounded by the zona pellucida? Zona pellucida prevents the abnormal implantation of the blastocyst, okay, so that it avoids ectopic pregnancy. So once now this has reached the normal site of implantation, that is in the fundus, okay, upper part of anterior posterior segment. So normally it is the posterior segment. So that time what happens? This zona pellucida will shed off. Okay, so shedding of the zona pellucida leads to hatching. Okay, hatching means it basically hatches, means it starts, that is the zona pellucida disappears, and by that time the blastocyst is implanted. Okay, so this happens at the time of implantation. So now once it happens here, what happens is this blastocyst, we have the cells here, we have arranged in 2 layers. Okay, so one is the inner cell mass, which is called as embryoblast, and some cells. Okay, so here what happens among this number of cells, at 8 cells, no, they would have decided, okay, we are going to form the embryo. Whereas the rest of the cells, they will say, okay, we'll form the outside protective barrier. Okay, and we will provide the nutrition for your growth. So they form the barrier, that is, they form the cytotrophoblast. Okay, that is around the blastocyst, that is around near the embryoblast, all around it will form. Okay, that is initially we call it as trophoblast, and trophoblast will further divide into cytotrophoblast and syncytiotrophoblast. So this embryoblast is the one in the initial stage which will form the embryo, as the name says. Whereas the trophoblast will give rise, that is, we have cytotrophoblast and syncytiotrophoblast. Okay, so this will give rise to placenta, and it will provide the nutrition to the embryo. And this blastocele cavity now, it forms the yolk sac. So here you can see, so how it is penetrated. Okay, so it goes inside. So this is the syncytiotrophoblast it forms. Okay, so this is the trophoblast on the outside. This is the syncytiotrophoblast. Okay, so this is actually the formation of the placenta. Okay, so when we write the summary, okay, so we have to write what we mean by blastocyst. So it is a cell mass, okay, so which consists of about 107 cells, isn't it? And characteristic features you have to write about. Okay, so first you write the definition. Okay, and among the, it will divide into, so here what happens, the uterine fluid. Okay, uterine fluid, it enters, and it enters the blastocyst cavity. Okay, and it forms the blastocele. Okay, so after the formation of blastocele, the cells divide into 2. Okay, so they divide into which one? The inner cell mass and an outer cell mass. Inner cell mass will form the embryo, and the outer cell mass, embryo it will form, and outer cell mass will form the trophoblast. Okay, so that is how it forms, and fetus, I already told you, and the blastocele cavity will form the yolk sac. Okay, so with this, we've finished today's class. Thanks for watching Auricle. For more content, you can follow the social media handles, okay, on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Telegram. And for your further journey with Auricle, okay, to improve yourself and to score good in exams, you can download the app on Google Play and App Store. So until then, until next time, okay, until then, next time, thank you.